All right, today I want to talk about what does it take to create sustainable weight loss, right? Weight loss that it's automatic, it's just always happening. And that's like the holy grail. So many of us have been chasing that for decades. And here's where I want to really kind of dive in. And I want you to if we were to think about, does this make sense? Think about health as a pyramid, right? It's a triangle where at the top we have exercise, we have nutrition, and we have, I'm gonna call it sleep slash stress. And everything needs to be as close to balance as it can be. It's not gonna be, 33.33, 33.33. It's not gonna be that. But the goal is to see if we can kind of make sure that it's always kind of in this going back and forth. And I bring this up because I have a client who's really struggling to put on weight put on muscle. And her biggest challenge is her food. And the biggest things we've been talking about is that, you can't build up a body when you're only eating 1,000 calories a day. You can't build up a body if your body has nothing to pull from. I want you to think about if we were building a house, right? Has anyone seen a house being built? And when you see a house being built, all the supplies show up, right? You got the 2x4s, you got the cement, you got the shingles, you got all the drywall. All of those things are there to build. Now imagine if a builder showed up and there were no 2x4s, there were no shingles, there was no drywall, right? He's kind of like looking around trying to figure out, shit, how do I build when I don't have enough stuff? It's not many people think that building our body it's like an episode of, I think it's called Iron Chef, where they're like, okay, here are these crazy ingredients and put them together and make something. That's not how our body works. Our body really needs the building blocks if we are really going to change our body composition. And that's like the top of the pyramid. 80% of our results come from nutrition. And that nutrition, so many people are like, my nutrition needs to be on point. Your nutrition doesn't need to be on point. And for the love of God, stop saying that. That is like my biggest pet peeve. Because as soon as someone says, my nutrition has to be on point, I'm like, girl, you just set yourself up for failure. But if I say my nutrition needs to be 80%, so that it gives me 20% of wiggle room, because come on, let's be honest, life would suck if we didn't have fun food, if we didn't have cake on our birthday or your kid's birthday, or you didn't have a glass of wine from time to time. So our nutrition, that's where the bulk of our effort needs to focus on, is how do I take in, we all know, right? Some people are like, I need a meal plan. No, we all know the shit that we're eating that needs to come out. We know it, right? So how do we find that, like I said, that middle ground, the moderation piece, so that we can have the fun foods sprinkled in along with the foods that are really going to change our body composition, give us the weight loss that we are looking for. And, think about it. It's, making sure we're getting protein, making sure we're getting in vegetables, fruits and vegetables. And so the two things I challenge you to do is that, can you get in at least 20 to 30 grams of protein with every meal you eat? Can you at least get in 4 to 6 cups of vegetables in a day? Right, 4 to 6 cups of vegetables in a day, fruits and vegetables in a day. And let's not even talk about like carrots have sugar or bananas, blah, blah, blah. Fruits and vegetables. If it falls from a tree, you pull it from the ground, you can have it. Now, the next piece, exercise, right? So many of us want to pull on that exercise lever because we hop on the treadmill, we hop on that spin bike, and it feels so good, right? The endorphins get pumping, I'm sweating, and it feels amazing, right? But exercise has a diminishing return. And when I say that, is that the more efficient I become, the more I have to add more, right? Our bodies are, efficient machines. And so it's like, if we give it the same stimulus over and over and over again, your body's like, oh, I know exactly what to do. I know how much energy to give. And then I'm not going to give you any more energy. So in order for me to get that weight loss response, get that body composition change, I'm going to have to do more and more and more and more. And at some point you're like, I can't strap my ass to a spin bike for my whole day. But the other thing that happens when we up our exercise, especially our cardio, we kick up our cravings because our body is pulling on immediate energy. And that immediate energy comes from somewhere. It immediately comes from, yes, it does come from our stored fat, but our body is like, we need to replace that. So it kicks up our hunger. And so the more hunger we have, the more we're going to eat. So we think we're being good and doing more cardio, but we have to find, again, that tipping point, that balance piece of it. The same thing with exercise, right? Spending 2+ hours in the gym, what are we really accomplishing, right? I recently heard it described as like junk reps, right? We're doing reps because we think the more I do, the better I am. But over the years, and trust me, I lived there, I was that person, and I didn't get a 2-hour workout. Like, why even go to the gym? That's how all or nothing my mindset was. But what I've found over the years is like, how do I take all the things I used to do, compress it, and be more efficient at the gym so that can I get in and out of the gym in less than an hour and still have that same feeling of accomplishment versus taking 2 hours out of my day to devote to exercise. And I know for the many people who that's what you do, it feels scary. Yes, I know it feels very scary, but it is possible for you to get in and out of the gym in less than an hour. There are plenty of times that I can get in and out of the gym in 30 minutes, right? It has made me become more efficient in the time. I can't remember the name of the principle, but it says if you give something a certain amount of time, that's how much time it's going to take. And so if you give yourself less time, that's how much, then you're able to get it done. And so the last piece is that, and I say it's the last, but it's not definitely the last. For a lot of people, the two things that are always gonna feel like dragging you down in that triangle, sleep and stress, right? Those are two things that so many people are like, I'll get to it. And I understand that. Trust me, I was a walking stress ball for decades. And I never realized how badly that was keeping me back. And that, as highly stressed as I was adding exercise on top of that. That was just like adding kerosene to an already stressed out, inflamed body. And if you look at yourself and you just feel like you look like just a big bloat machine, that's stress or the lack of sleep. And so, for someone who's like, just relax, right? That just, you're like, girl, if I could relax. Here's where I recently did a podcast on this, and I'll attach it here in the notes, is that the focus here is, what is the root cause? What is causing you to be stressed out, right? And a lot of it is just giving yourself 5 minutes, right? 5 minutes to say, what is going on in my life? And write down what is going on in my life, what is causing me to have stress, so that I can start to identify it. And that's the first piece, identification. And it's like, and you can't throw up your hands, but like, it's all the things, right? Something like and start to like have awareness of like, as you go through the day, like what's like pushing your like button, right? And so then as I do that, then I can start to say, okay, these are the things that are stressing me out. Then I can start to unpack, okay, do I need to own this? Is this something that I need to own? Is this something that I can focus on changing? Is there some step I can take to get rid of this? Is there some step I can take to make a change to this? So that you start to like face your fear, face your stress. And again, like these are just some of the tip of the iceberg. My guest on the podcast, like I said, I'm gonna link below. She goes into greater details about all of the things we can do about stress. And she just is like, it was just such a great episode. And I'm not even going to try to do it justice here. And then the last piece here is sleep, right? So many of us walk around like wired yet tired. Caffeine is your spirit animal. Trust me, I love coffee and I'm never going to take your coffee away. But I have to ask you, how many cups a day are you drinking? Are you drinking it because it's enjoyment, or are you drinking it because it's the kick in the ass you need, or the Monster, the Red Bull, or whatever other, caffeine like punch in the face you need to get yourself through the day? And as you do this, I want you to ask yourself, how much sleep did I get last night? And, I have a client and she knows it. She's like, I don't sleep. I stay, my sleep, staying up late is my reward, right? I have a really stressful life and staying up late and watching TV, that's my way of relaxing. And I'm like, great, that's awesome. But can we set a time for you to go to bed? Versus you passing out on the couch and then dragging yourself to bed and then thinking that you're gonna still get up at 6 a.m. and crush a workout, like, that's just not gonna work out. And many times it doesn't work out for her. So what we've done together is like, create a bedtime. So like, even if it's 15 minutes earlier than you would normally go to bed. So I'm an early bird. Like, I'm in bed, like, I can't tell you the last time I think I stayed up past midnight. So if I were like, say I was that night owl and I was always dragging my ass to bed around midnight, I would set an alarm for 11:45. And 11:45, that alarm would go off and I would go to bed. And what I've told her is like, 11:45 isn't you to like get up, start cleaning the kitchen and do it. Like, no, 11:45 is like, you're in your PJs, you're already got your brushed and washed your face, and all you need to do is get in bed and close your eyes, right? You've done all the things. We're not doing anything that's gonna like rev your system back up. So those are the 3.5 things that really takes to create this weight loss that we want. And I wanted you to ask yourself, right? Which piece of that triangle is missing? Which piece of that triangle needs some attention? And I know everyone's like, oh, I need all of it. But right now, right? Because if we could all do all the things, we'd be doing all the things. So what I ask you to do is I want you to look at that triangle and say, where can I focus? Like, what piece feels easy for me right now? What's the piece that I can say, you know what? I'm gonna crush it. I'm gonna focus on that. And I'd love to know. Leave me a comment below. What area of that triangle are you going to focus on the most? Or focus on first? All right, ladies, rock on with your bad self.